5 minutes. A gentleman from California, Mr. Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you again to our witnesses for being here. I want to just start, I know we're talking a lot about the federal workforce. I served as mayor of my hometown, Long Beach, for 8 years before I got here, and so I'm really proud of the 6,500 employees that made up our city and all of their hard work, and I'm also proud of our federal workforce. And of course, we all know that there can always be improvements, and there are always ways of looking at efficiencies and making our workforce stronger, and I think those that work on the front lines will tell you that as well. I think unfortunately, there are some here that have tried to smear our federal workforce and continue to bring up, I think, factually incorrect statements, and certainly things that are not true about the way our workers operate here, not just in D.C., but as we know, a lot of the federal workforce is all across the country. And they want to justify their plans to fire thousands of people and gut critical programs by attacking the Social Security Administration and other agencies within the government. Now, this is, of course, one of our first hearings as we're opening up the new Congress, and Republicans, not surprisingly, are taking aim at the Social Security Administration, and we know that's not a coincidence. And I want to start with, Commissioner O'Malley, thank you for being here, of course, and for your work overseeing what I believe is one of the most important agencies in our entire government. Just briefly, Americans have earned their Social Security benefits, isn't that correct?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And exactly as you know, this program has been the backbone of our society.
Absolutely.
Gives millions of people the ability to live with dignity and security. And make no mistake, you know it, we know it, there are right-wing extremists, some in Congress, that want to privatize and cut Social Security. Now, Commissioner O'Malley, we know that Elon Musk, who at this point I believe is essentially the co-president, has called for cutting at least $2 trillion to federal spending. And actually more recently, he's actually said, well, no, it's more like $1 trillion that I want to cut of federal spending. Now, do you believe it's possible to reduce federal spending by $1 trillion without cutting Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid?
No, sir, I don't believe that's mathematically possible.
I agree with you. And if you add up the entire discretionary federal budget, which is everything from Head Start to protecting our borders, our military, firefighting, federal infrastructure, you actually only get to about $1.7 trillion. So even if you eliminated the Department of Education, Transportation, HUD, the FBI, all science funding, you would still need to cut Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid to reach that $2 trillion in spending cuts. I think it's important for everyone to understand that the real agenda here is quite dangerous, not just for the federal workforce, not just for the Social Security Administration, but to the entire country. And that Elon Musk, through his, I think, insane ideas, is really calling much of the shots. So I want to show you something to the administrator and to our panelists here. These are some of the programs that we have that essentially are waiting for reauthorization from the federal government. Republicans are often vague about their cuts because obviously they don't want the American people to know what they really want to do. The real plan, of course, they say, is to make sure the federal government is perceived as broken. Federal government workers are all lazy. We have to break it. We have to eliminate it. And now in November, Elon Musk outlined his actual plan to the Wall Street Journal to cut about $500 billion of programs that need to get reauthorized. So here are those programs right from his interview with the Wall Street Journal. We're looking at essentially the single largest program that would actually get cut, according to Elon Musk's plan, would be veterans health care. And it's not just veterans health care at 119 there, if you're looking at all this. You're talking about opioid treatment, the State Department, housing assistance. We're in a huge housing crisis. You're looking at NASA, cutting essentially the entire Department of Education. And these are billions of dollars for programs that are needed for people to survive. And so I think it's really important as we talk about efficiency, which is what Republicans want to talk about in this hearing and others, that it's Elon Musk and his directive is to essentially cut programs and departments that would harm, whether they say the word Social Security or not, the amount of money they want to cut from the federal government would lead to drastic cuts to Social Security and Medicare, period. Those are just the facts. And so I think it's important that we talk about efficiency in the way that is honest and direct with the American people. I also want to just say in conclusion, I think we owe a great deal of respect and admiration to those men and women that are on the front lines working across the country to help American people access their benefits, take care of our military families, and provide care to veterans in our hospitals. And we should not let billionaires attack our federal employees or the Social Security Administration, but we should instead be standing up for them. And with that, I yield back.